Welcome everybody, welcome again. My name is Matous Rokos. I recently joined PowerON as a principal cloud architect. And today I will guide you through this session about Azure Backup, and with the subtitle End of Day, we would like to have that there. So we will look at a couple of things about Azure Backup and other related things, because the Microsoft storage model is pretty much the same for all the services. There's much more services that you can benefit from. So let's have a quick look to our agenda. After a short intro, which basically means PowerPoint, we will jump straight to Azure Storage, which is the core Microsoft technology in Azure. And I will introduce the Azure Storage to you. I will show you how Azure Storage works, how the replication works, what you can have there. And from that, we will jump straight into cloud protection, which for now means Azure Backup. In session after lunch, we will have site recovery. And there's another interesting thing that we have as a last chapter of our session, and that's hybrid storage, Store Simple. It benefits a lot from Azure Storage, and it's a nice thing to have in your own data center. It's like a nice hybrid technology. So this is it. This is what we are dealing with. So basically, it means PowerPoint, some demo, and more PowerPoint. So here we go. So for start, I would like to ask you about your experience with cloud in general. So because cloud now is there for some time, we all have option to use it. So what is the percentage of your infrastructure versus maybe hoster, maybe cloud? So of course, all of you use on-premise infrastructure. Is that correct? All right. Who has some infrastructure at the hoster? Who use any hoster? No one. Glad to hear that. And what about the cloud? Does anyone have a production cloud environment or test cloud environment? Raise your hand or something. Yeah. Okay. So the reason I'm asked for it is that we are in this age when cloud is a real buzzword and is all over the place. And it's kind of an echo of old times. Like if we look at the beginning of the 20th century, it was kind of in the middle of the transformation like we are now. So as you can see on the photo, they are in the middle of transformation as well. And you can see something similar in our IT organization. So we can use this super modern technology, but we can still see a lot of horses around, and they're not going away, not anytime soon. But we need to live in this hybrid world, and we can benefit from both of these as much as we can. So today is about the presentation is about like living in this hybrid world, hybrid age, and we can surely see how cloud is developing in a breathtaking speed. But we will need to wait a bit before everything will be in the cloud. So let's benefit from the hybrid world. Let's protect what's still on the earth. Let's really benefit from protection which is cloud-based, and let's protect something which is still on-premise. So in other words, let's use modern technology to protect our horses. For your way to cloud, there will be a separate presentation delivered by Ken. But basically, if you are deciding for cloud, you probably three of the paths or these directions that you could look for. And the most common thing is you probably have some VMs or physical servers. You will take the application and migrate it to the cloud. So that's the most common way I experience. So you just take the VM, move it somewhere else where it makes sense, and run it there. For hosters, there's a much common thing. That is the most common thing you can see with hosters. They just move VMs around. For it's kind of again the situation like we had in the early 90s, and you had these horses and cars. So basically, if you imagine the car or search for a folder for the car from the day, it looks like carriage without horses. So it's close to the modern technology, but not that far. So these are hosters. These are these horseless carriages. They are still trying to be close to the old one. to the old IP. With Azure, you can migrate your infrastructure and run it automatically, run it really automated, benefit from templates, benefit from scripting, benefit from massive deployments to Azure. But that's not the subject of our presentation. I would like to talk with you about this thing somewhere later. This is one of the easiest way to the cloud. The second way is basically like in those times if you decide to buy a new car and sell all your horses. So this is hosting of web applications. You don't care about the infrastructure anymore. You just want to take your application, move it to cloud, and don't care about anything related to infrastructure, servers, patching, anything related. So this is more advanced topic. I would like to talk with you again about this as well. But again, this is not the subject of today's presentation. And then you have the third one, and that's the backup and disaster recovery. So this is our main topic today. And the reason I have it on the slide is because that's your easiest way to cloud. You can benefit from this thing. You don't need to migrate anything. You don't need to schedule outtime for application. You don't need to schedule any maintenance window. You just use these extra protection for existing environment. You just take your application, protect it with technologies that we will discuss today, and let it back up to the cloud, and have this for emergency cases, for disaster, and have it as a recovery and for your restoration of your data. So this is our topic, and this will be in the next couple of slides. So let's dive into the Azure Backup then. So as Steve already had on the slide, you can have Azure Backup and protection from many data centers around the world. So you can select the closest one and benefit from distance. But like Steve already mentioned, for UK you need to wait a bit till the end of this year. So the closest one still is the Dublin data center. Maybe you can use the Amsterdam one as well. So these are those you need to use. Okay. There are more coming, like Steve already mentioned. There will be data centers in France. There are already open data centers in Germany, but you need a contract for those, and many data centers. For government deployments, there are centers in US. There will be UK data centers for our government-related projects. Okay, so for Azure Storage is the global available service in all of these data centers. You can use it from everywhere. So it's like a giant hard drive. You can put anything in there, and you don't have to care about the replication or such things, because that's automatically on the background. So whatever type of data you put into Azure Storage, it's automatically replicated across the data center, at least in 3 copies. These are independent copies in the different places in the same region, in the same data center. So you have these massive rooms filled with servers and storages, and you can imagine that there are 3 replicas of your data somewhere in there. If one of the replica fails, it's automatically replaced by another replica. This is on the side. If you want something more, if you want replica somewhere else, you can benefit from a so-called geo-replication, and it enables replication across the regions. Basically, it replicates your data to another data center, but still in the same zone. So North Europe is replicated to West Europe, UK South will be replicated to UK West. So you always have these data in the same zone, and it's a benefit of Microsoft. There's no other cloud provider who does the same thing. They always replicate your data to the United States or somewhere else. So this way, if you need to have data, and this data can't leave European Union, for example, this way, if Microsoft can guarantee it, that will be. All right, so for storage, it's a common thing. So you don't need to care about anything with that. Microsoft does it automatically on the background. There was one case in the history when you actually could benefit from the geo-replication, one, let's say, disaster, and that was in Shanghai data center 2 years ago. There actually was a fire in the data center, and fire brigade basically shut down the whole colo, the whole room where the servers were. So they basically pushed this master shutdown button, and everything went out of print. So those customers who had this locally replication, they were impacted because all these replicas were in the same data center, of course. But dereplicated customers could benefit from replica somewhere else. So keep it in your mind, maybe you can use it later. So for Azure Backup, we have the exact same storage model. So that thing before was called Azure Storage. You can store your data there, you can have your VM drives there. But Azure Backup uses the exact same principle, exact same replication. So whatever you put to Azure Backup, whatever you decide to backup, is replicated in the exact same manner. Azure Backup, in a sense, is a really simple solution. You need just to log into your portal, create something which is called Recovery Vault, which is your place in the storage. You install agent on a server. This is the easiest way. This is like for small business or for your branch offices. So there's no centralized management. There's nothing like DPM or something. We will cover it later. But this is the simplest scenario for branch offices and for small business. So you can install your agents to your servers individually. And that server is, after that, it's registered to Microsoft Azure. So what happens there is that basically when the server registers, they have like a little handshake, exchange keys, and encrypt the connection. So they can move the data securely in a secure way. When the server is registered, it can back up data in a encrypted way. It can also recover data from Azure storage. This is individual way for individual servers. Personally, I wouldn't do it for more than 5 servers. I would be tired of clicking, so I recommend the same for you. And let's jump straight to the more advanced scenario, which would be probably more typical for you. For the simple scenario, I also have a demo here to show you how it looks like, and then we can jump to the more advanced thing. So let's see. Here I have Azure Portal, and I will just myself in. This will take me to the customized page. You can have yours as well. All right, so here we go. So this is my portal dashboard. I can customize the thing however I want. So I can pin individual services there, and for me, it's backup now. So I need to browse through recovery service vaults because that's where my backup vault is. And I have this backup demo vault. It's really simple. There's nothing extra specific. You can see that we haven't protected anything yet. There's 0 backup items, 0 replicated items. And you can set up this vault to replicate your VM. That will be subject of our another presentation, the SR, site recovery. Or you can set it up to backup things from your on-premise. So the backup is pretty easy. There's this getting started guide, and we will just prepare our server for backup. So I say that my server is running on-premise, and I want to backup one of these scenarios. I can use one of these scenarios. So if I want to just backup file and folders, it's a simple agent installation process, which I will show you. If I would like to have some application consistent backup for other solutions like Hyper-V or SQL Server, I need to have something to do the consistent backup for me. So either you can use DPM or you can use Microsoft Azure Data Protection Server, which is something like DPM, really similar, but you can download it for free. So for now, I will use just file and folders and select OK here. Now, the next step is about just downloading an agent, install it, and then there is something called vault credentials. So these vault credentials are just stored key in the file, or keys in the file. And these keys are just for initial handshake. So there are no keys persistently stored in any of my files that I could lose somewhere. They are just for initial handshake. That's why there's a warning that these vault credentials will expire after 2 days. So you need to configure it straight after you download it, Tank, because then you might need to download the others. So in the previous slide I had, there was just this handshake connection. So they will just exchange the keys. They will exchange basically new keys, download the certificate, and they will communicate it in an encrypted way after this handshake. So you can delete the vault credentials after. You will have certificates stored on your server. Okay, so this is it. So all I need to do is connect to my server and prepare it. I have RDP file for my server somewhere here, or maybe let me download it again. For these purposes, I created Azure VM, but for now, let's take it like on-premise server because the setup is pretty much the same. Later, I will show you the more focused demo on protection in Azure. You have Azure VM that you need to protect. Okay, so here we go. So I will just RDP to my server. And because I did a bit of homework, here I have all my files I need to download. So the agent is there, and there are also my vault credentials. So the installation process is pretty simple. The wizard will take care of everything. They will install projects for you. It will check if there's anything missing. You really have everything. So what you need to set up here is installation folder, which is pretty much basic thing. But there you have this cache folder. So you won't actually put these on some bigger driver. Depends on how big your backup is, because it will cache some of the data and prepare it locally before it's sent it to the cloud. Why this thing happened? It's because you actually need to prepare those data not in the just way for backup, but what Azure Backup does is also it compresses data and encrypts them with an encryption key. I will show you the encryption key later. So this is the path you need to set up. If you use proxy, you obviously need to set up it here. We are connected without a proxy. I will download updates in the recommended way. That's a standard way. I'm okay with prereqs, and let's install this thing. So installation is pretty basic thing. You can see that I already have this Azure Backup agent on my server, and I will show you the configuration right after this wizard is done. Okay, proceed to registration. There we go, and this is the initial handshake with the vault I showed you on the slide. So for this thing, I need to upload my vault credentials, or at least put it there. So these are my vault credentials. Yeah, okay. So you can see that it found my vault in this ID and within the region that I selected. So this for me it's North Europe, it's Dublin. Okay. So now I have there my passphrase, and this passphrase will encrypt all the data that this backup server will send to Azure. So there's no scenario there will be unencrypted data in Azure. So even if there would be someone in Microsoft, which is not possible, so he wouldn't be able to read those data because they're encrypted with your key that you selected, that you have. Other thing is that you need to keep this key somewhere. Put it on the wall, in the vault, and have it there, because if you need to restore your data to other server, you will certainly need this key. So I will just use generated key, but you can select pretty much any key you want, and I will store this key on this PC because so far I don't have anything else. But obviously that's not a thing. Like we want to store our keys somewhere else, of course. So this is the initial registration, and then we can continue to some basic setup. So here's my encryption key. Store it on the desktop. So just a basic thing. So what is the problem? It probably has a problem with storing the encryption key. So let's put me to some different location. I will try to put it maybe on to the downloads or somewhere. Let's try this again. Demo gods. There we go. So much better. And I can launch the recovery service agent. So there I have my basic configuration. So for these individual servers, you can select basic things to back up, like individual file paths. So since we have registered our server, we can just proceed to scheduling the backup. So it will just connect to the vault and fetch policy from the vault. Now I can select
what I would like to protect. So maybe there's a certain app in my hard drive that I would like to have protected, and maybe there's a whole C drive that I would like to replicate. It's up to you. I will select something small to continue. So maybe I would like to just protect my user account files, be able to restore it. You can of course select many individual items. You can put pretty much anything in there. So this is really simple configuration. Now I can specify a backup schedule. So I can have it once per day, once per week, or whatever attention you would like to have. And you can also specify your retention. I will talk about retention later, but could be really high number. So for now, I will just leave it for day. One time is fine for me for my user account. I don't need these frequent backups. But you can specify many retention policies. So for example, if I would like to have my short-term, medium-term, and long-term backup policy, I could specify it here. So if I will have my short-term, I would like to keep my data for half a year. Short-term backup, why not? Then I can have my medium-term recovery policy, and this will be just monthly based. And I would like to keep these data for 60 months. That would be like the medium term. And for extra long term, for let's say archiving of my data, I would like to select retention for 10 years. You can select your retention up to 99 years. So this way, it's great for archiving. It's a great way for backing up your data, and it's the easiest way how to get rid of the tape. Because probably after those 10 years or 20 years or whatever you need to, you probably won't need this data. If you need to archive data that long, you don't need to categorize your tapes and move it to a different safe location. You can just use this thing, simply put 99 is there, or whatever number you need to back it up. Okay, so I'm fine with these retention policies. I will leave it this way now, so we can move on. And this is the way I can automate my backup. So I can automatically send it over the network, or use something with, and that's the offline thing. So I can ship my data to the data center if I need to, if they are too big. So the backup is incrementally based. So if you have really large server that you need to back up, and it's many terabytes, you can put these on some disk you buy, some it could be cheap SATA disk that you buy anywhere you want. Put your data in, and encrypt it with BitLocker, and create something which is called import-export job. You can create it through this wizard. So what happens is that someone will pick up your drive, put it to your data center, ship it there, and after a day or two, they will hear from support technician who will call you and tell you, okay, I received your drive. I upload your data, you can encrypt now. Okay, so you decrypt your data, and you can use it. Then you can back up just the increment, what happened during this journey of the courier. So like increment from your past 2 days, you're fine. Okay, so I will use automatically backup over the network and start. This will create a backup schedule for me. And from this moment, I have these files protected. What else I can set up is pretty useful thing. I can change properties here, and I can set up throttling, like a clause, like quality of service. So if you would like to have some limitations for a bandwidth for Azure Backup, you can set it here, because otherwise it will certainly use whatever it gives. Like whatever line you have, Azure Backup will use it. So you probably want to set up some schedule for this, because during the work week, you probably want to have a schedule from like 9 to 5 to use limited amount of bandwidth, and then on weekends and in the night, you just leave it unlimited to backup quickly. Okay, so I will certainly use this throttling limit optimized network. Okay, so this is pretty much it. What you can set up on the backup agent, like really simple solution. Let's jump back to the slides, okay, and let's jump into more advanced scenario, which is probably more typical for all of you. So if you don't want to care about individual servers, if you don't want to went through what I just did, like install individual agents on
every server in your organization and register it individually. So you can use your existing DPM server. You have System Center licenses? How many of you? Yeah, great. All of you. Perfect. So you can use your existing data protection manager. And what you need to do is just install agent on the DPM server. So it's just the one installation and really similar process what I just showed you. So you don't need to install agent anywhere else because DPM already has agents on all of these servers. So why to install another agent? So with DPM, you already have your protection groups. So you can enable protection for these individual groups. And of course, DPM will register itself to Microsoft Azure, do this handshake, do the encryption and everything I mentioned, and that's pretty much it. So you have your backup ready, even for advanced scenario like with DPM. Then you can back up your encrypted data with your password that you selected during the installation, and DeepL will take care of everything, like everything from backup and storage. You will drive these things from DPM, and you will use Azure as just for long-term backups and medium-term backups. So short-term backups you can quickly recover from DPM drives, the same way you already have. And backups, there will be in Azure, long-term backups as well. There's nothing else you need. You can recover those data from Azure. Okay, so for this long-term retention, how long do you usually keep your data? How long do you have it there? This is your retention.
1 day.
1 day. Okay. So is 99 is okay for everyone? Most I've seen was 25 years. There was some like someone needed to take backup. It was financial institution, and you really need to take backup for every email 25 years back.
I've only ever had one that was more than that, but they had to have a nuclear half-life because of the type of stuff they held data on. But I mean, 500 years. It's like, yeah, it's probably a bit excessive. They haven't actually got to that point yet because they've only been around.
UK legal is 7 to 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can pretty much go with it, and you can during the installation you can select your model that you like to have. You can set up your retention, set up your backup policies, and you can also set up your replication model. So depends you. How would you like to have your data protected? You can set up the local redundant replication, there's 3 replicas in the region, or pure replicated, that means 3 replicas here and 3 replicas in other region. So this is the probably thing how it's, today how it looks like in your data center. Is that familiar? You're probably using multiple Microsoft solutions, Windows clients. You can back them up to DPM up to every 15 minutes. And from DPM, for short-term backup retention, you have like disk-based storage, like classic storage. And for archiving, you have of course, you need to have some disaster recovery, and that's pretty expensive because if you really need to have your backup properly stored, you need to have it somewhere else on the other disk, and then you also need to ship your tapes to some safe location. Sounds familiar? Do you have it similar way or other way? Yeah? All right. So what I would like to suggest is how you can benefit from the cloud and replace this model with something else. So this is the way how you can do it. You still keep everything else, what you have. You can still keep your DPM. You have DPM disk-based protection, so you have it for short-term retention. But for medium-term and long-term, you have Azure Backup. So we get rid of the tape, and for Azure Backup, we use these medium-term and long-term policies. So whatever you need for short-term base, you can recover from that, and it will be much faster than from Azure Backup. Of course, because you don't need to download anything from a cloud. But if you have some huge disaster, you need to restore data from a month ago or something else, you go to Azure Backup, and with DPM, you can restore it to original place. So there's no safe location. There's nothing that you need because Azure will take care of everything rest. Like you have these 3 replicas in every data center. That should be enough. If there's other data center that you can use.
So up to 6 replicas you can have in Azure Backup and use it instead of your tape, vaults, whatever you have, where you need to ship your data. Right? So it's pretty much Azure Backup. There's another part of Azure Backup that you can actually use, and that will be for Azure Virtual Machines. So the previous part was pretty much about on-premise. So if you have your machines in Azure, any machine in Azure, you might ask, why would I go into this type of backup if Microsoft promised something like replica, replicated storage, and such things? Why Microsoft doesn't have? So this replicated storage is for hardware failure protection. They will protect your data, they will protect your machine, that will be up and running, and you will never lose your hard drive. But you can use Azure Backup for application backup, application-related backup. So if you have some information in your database and you know it came this week, so you can restore your data to previous version. So that's for Azure Backup. You can set up same policies. You can protect any VM in Azure. It can run Linux, it can run Windows, whatever you have there. Same policies you can set up to support individual Azure VMs. And it's even much easier than you don't need to install any agent because machine already has Azure agent, so we don't need to take care of all this. And again, you can select any recovery point if you like. So that was pretty much Azure Backup. Are there any questions for Azure Backup before we jump to Store Simulator? Yeah? Nancy.
What about we're using VMware as the underlying platform? Does that make sense?
You can still use DPM for protection of your VMware machines.
Yeah.
Or you can install agents individually on these type of servers. So you can still use any platform you like, and you can either install agents individually or use DPM for protection of VMware machines.
So have you got DPM already on premise?
No.
No. So Microsoft have just updated DPM with update rollup 11 literally last month. That brought in native support for backing up VMware at the VM level. So it'll just take a VM bare metal straight up into Azure Backup. You need to have DPM with update rollup 11. The Azure Backup components with the VMware support are just about to be released.
When you push it up to the cloud, does it convert? Because obviously VMware uses VMDK.
For this, there's no conversion for this because you can restore it back to on-premise. This is just backup.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can restore it on-premise or you can restore it anywhere you want. For the conversion thing you mentioned, we will cover Azure Site Recovery, and that replicates VM to Azure, and you can start VMs in Azure. So that's the topic of our other presentation after lunch. Okay, so let's jump into Store Simple. If you remember storage account, I mentioned storage account is in every data center, and you can create many of your storage accounts. So you can have these for individual projects, individual VMs, for many type of data that you can imagine. So Store Simple uses this storage account. It's a main thing that we need to have there. So we'll create this storage account as a place for data. And this storage account, what's our key components of it? It's the storage account always has two keys and a public DNS. So this storage is publicly accessible, but you need a key to access your data, one or the other. So this way you can upload your data or download it. So you need to know that there are these type of keys, and you can always regenerate the key, create a new one, or replace the previous one. This is the basic thing with the Azure storage. Okay. Everything else I already mentioned: replicas, replication itself, protection, everything is there. So this is the main thing we need. Okay. So then, first, the Store Simple thing. What is Store Simple? Store Simple is traditional disk field, like filled with drives, and you can put this thing to your own server room. It looks like the classical disk field, completely normal, and it's there are like servers connected to it through a SCSI. But this thing is not classical at all. You of course have your classic SAS drives and SSDs in it, but in the backend you have Azure Storage as another tier that you can store data. And I will tell you how you can benefit from this thing.
let's take a look on that. So the classic storage that you have many challenges with it. We already discussed this thing when we went through Azure Backup. And you probably have some primary storage and you keep your data. Then you have some archival storage that could be paid, that could be tried, whatever it is. And you probably have some backup somewhere. Then you need a safe location, another location, like disaster recovery location, probably another location for tapes, some vault. So you need to ship these tapes across and replicate your storages. So this could be really expensive. You probably know the thing. StoreSimple is a solution for this problem in one box only. So since StoreSimple uses Azure as a backend, you can automatically store your data in some other safe location. So we don't need any other location. Basically, StoreSimple uploads the data to Azure Storage. So it uses another 3 replicas, and you have this safe place, safe location with 3 replicas. Or you can use geo-replicated storage. You have 6 replicas across the regions. So for backup, StoreSimple offers automated solutions. So StoreSimple can backup everything was on it to Azure, and you don't need any other backup tool. You don't need anything else how to backup this storage. StoreSimple does this thing called Cloud Snapshot, and I will show them later. Okay, and for recovery, of course, you can download your data back from Azure Storage, and you have your data recovered. I will also show you tiering of data and how StoreSimple uses unused data and most frequently used data. StoreSimple is ideal for unstructured data. You usually have some data that you need to have in your organization, but it's kind of hard to manage them. So you have your file shares, you have your shares with logs and everything. You have installation files, VM libraries, such things that usually sits on your expensive storages that you bought, like EMC and others. But you bought these storages because of high IOPSs. So you need to provide high IOPSs to your clusters, to databases, to other things. And these things keep growing and usually take some space out of your storage. You need to buy some other shelves for these things. You need to extend the capacity, you need to maintain them, you need to back them up. Okay, so StoreSimple is ideal for this thing because if you have your unstructured data, you can store them on StoreSimple. So StoreSimple approaches this thing in a really simple way. Most used data, commonly used data, are on StoreSimple, on physical drives, on SSDs and SAS drives. Unused data and backups are in cloud storage, in Azure storage. And StoreSimple automatically checks if data are used or not, and based on that logic, lifts and shifts and moves them to Azure and back to on-premise based on the usage and frequency of access. So if you have your file shares, things you need to back up, VM libraries and such things, there are some special cases for StoreSimple I will talk about later. You always use StoreSimple for these type of things. Let's check the hardware models. It's hardware after all, so you probably care about performance and capacity and things. So we have these older StoreSimples. These are 7000 series. I think we are somewhere in the end of the life cycle already. So you will just see these things somewhere, maybe
on eBay most of the time.
Yeah. So we have much modern, and these are 8000 series. I mean, you can buy 8000 series. Usable capacity for the lower model of 8000 series is 15 up to 75 terabytes. Why is it up to? It's because you have this usable capacity, like the things you have, like the capacity of the drives that you have after RAID. So this 15 terabytes. And then up to is based on the duplication and compression ratio. So you can still have up to 70 terabytes locally, because StoreSimple always does what they do, always compress your data, always try to push them smaller. But maximum capacity is 200 terabytes for this smaller one. It's with cloud storage. StoreSimple
can use up to 200 terabytes of cloud storage in the backend, and it's the maximum capacity you can get from the smaller one. So it's not unlimited storage. If there's not enough for you, you can use the more expensive model. It's basically the double model. So you can use this one, and it has 40 up to 200 terabytes locally, dedupe and compression, and up to 500 terabytes cloud. So it's not just in the cloud, it's like in the box or simple thing. So if you create your volume on Store Simple, you don't need to specify where that volume is, if it's on the cloud or if it's locally. You don't need to check your keyring. Store Simple does automatically for you. So you just need to create a volume and say, this volume will be 500 terabytes. That's it. Store Simple will care for us. So let's take it from the other side. Store Simple is a piece of hardware. So of course, all components need to be redundant. You have these redundant power adapters. They are backed by batteries. So if you shut down Store Simple, use the batteries to shut it down correctly, save everything, and complete all the transactions. I remember when I installed my first Store Simple, and I needed to move it to a customer side. So I shut it down through the PowerShell, and it was still running until you just shut down the little thing. And when you actually do that, when you just click it, it still runs. So I unplugged it from cables, and it still did the thing, like because of the batteries. I didn't know about the batteries at that time. So I looked at my power cards there. I said, "Is it Perpetuum mobile or what the thing is?" So these batteries will keep Store Simple alive, at least for saving these transactions. Then you have these redundant controllers. You have controller 1 and controller 2. So controller is like a main thing on Store Simple. It has all the adapters there, like LAN connectors and everything. So you have 10 gigs, and you have 4 gigs.